Hey everybody, Karyn Bryant here, talking with Belal Muhammad. I feel like whenever I say your name, I always do like a bully dance. I don't even know why, but I'm always like, Bully B. Belal Muhammad, who is taking on Demian Maia at UFC 263. So great to see you. It's been a couple weeks. How
Feeling
you doing?
good. Feeling good. It ain't the same. We both ain't wearing. We're not dressed up. Now we just looking normal, and it's like,
I
but
know.
it's all right. I'm having fun. Glad to be fight week again. Feels good. Huge card. I just can't wait to get to Arizona.
Yeah, it's gonna. But there's an amazing Public Enemy song. By the time I get to Arizona, if you don't know it, for people who do know it, it's a great song. It's actually on my jump rope mix.
Oh, really?
Um, Look it up. But anyway, yeah, no, it's a great song. It's a great song. By the time I get to Arizona, it's really good actually. Now it's all in my head. But listen, Bully, huge opportunity. Yeah, so there's a lot I want to talk to you about. Um, but you are facing Damien. Is it 100% his last fight, right? It might be, right? So it's quite an honor to be facing him, and Damien is a guy who, is a legend. So just in terms of the matchup, like what does it mean to you?
It means a lot. Honestly, like you said, it's like this could be his last fight. And he's one of those guys who literally fought the best of the best. Fought for the title twice, and like he's one of everybody in the sport respects him. So like he's like one of those guys you see like at an airport. You're gonna walk up to him, shake his hand, bow to him. Like hey yo, that's Damian Maia. Let me get a picture. And and the jiu-jitsu community, everybody loves him. Like I said, he's like one of those guys you can't trash talk. You don't need to sit there and build up hate or anything like that. Like he's a guy that I've always watched and I've always wanted to fight and like test myself against because he was that guy that never changed his game for anybody. He stuck to what he was great at, and even though he only did one thing, he still was dominant in that one thing. Like a lot of guys in this sport, they try to evolve and try to do a million different things because it's considered MMA. But Damian was one of those guys that stuck to one martial art and he did great at it. And he was like one of the really only successful guys that ever like stuck with that one martial art and is able to do it in this common age where guys been training since they're like 3 years old.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild, but you're totally right. Like what are you going to say? You're too classy and you're too married to the same woman and you're still too raising your beautiful family and you're too good at jujitsu. Like, what are you going to say to him? It's impossible. You're too articulate. And, yeah, it's impossible to trash talk Damian Maia. 100% agree with you on that. But the thing about that specialist thing is, Bilal, with certain people, and especially with Damian, you know what's coming, and a lot of people can't stop it. So what do you do? I mean, you can't spend all day working on takedown defense because we've seen him jump guard, we've seen him backpack, we've seen him do every single thing. So, like,
That's
what
the
do you
thing.
do?
When I first this was a pretty long camp. It was probably like 8 weeks, and the beginning part of the camp, like you said, it was like more defense, like takedown defense and just defense. And then I'm like, bro, this ain't me. Like I gotta be offensive. Like the best defense is the best offense. So I can't go in there thinking like, oh man, I gotta figure out this position right here. What if we get in this exact spot right here? What if he jumps on this spot right here? Like when at first when I was doing that, it was like messing me up, and it was like me getting more in my head, and I was getting more stressed out during training. But then I was like, you know what? I'm good enough to compete with him anywhere. And obviously, I'm not going to sit there and jump guard on Damian Maia. But like, if it hits the ground, I'm not a fish out of water. I'm not going to fall off. So like, regardless of where it goes, I think I'll be good enough to compete with him because, like I said, like to me, I'm one of those guys that should be top five, and I feel like I belong in that top five. And literally, only the guys that beat Damian Maia are top five, or guys you beat him, you're fighting for the title next, or you're fighting within the next couple fights gonna be for the title. So it's like those guys are the only ones that really beat him. The other guys, he's literally tapping them out, finishing him. Even great guys is finishing, but it takes those special guys that are good everywhere and are not too wild, not dumb enough to play his game. Like even Gilbert Burns, you can tell he got a little cocky at first. Like, oh, I'm one of the best jits guys in the game, and
Yeah,
Damian Maia took his back in the first round and mounted him. So I was like, oh crap, he could do that to Gilbert Burns.
right,
So it was like,
right.
you don't want to play that game, but just know that I'm prepared if it does go there.
Cool. Well, and the thing is too with Damien that I do wonder what his approach is going to be. Like, if it is the last one for him, will he try something new, or will he just, like, stick to what got him there? Like, who even knows?
That's the thing.
Who even knows? But you're 100% right about.
I got asked. I got somebody asked me, and they were like, "Oh man, it must feel better to train for somebody that can't knock you out." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, Demian Maia, he's not gonna try to knock you out. He's just gonna try to tap you out, So it must be like easier camp." I was like, what are you talking about? Like, some people just ask the dumbest questions, but I was like, bro, like what? But literally, it's 4 ounce gloves, and I'm like, man, imagine this is Demian Maia's last fight. Like, you know what? I want to go out with the bang. Let's just bang it out. Let's just go. Let's just let these hands go. So honestly, like you never know. Like I said, it's fighting, and he's one of those guys too. Maybe he wants to prove something to himself and to the fans that he's not he's 43 or whatever, but he still got it. Like even still, he's won 3 out of his last 4. So it's like people calling him old. I'm like, dude, Demian Maia is still top of his game.
Absolutely. Well, Masur and Duba just fought last night. He's even older, and he still shows out. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can't write them off because of the age. Obviously, it is a great opportunity for you. And the last fight that you had was with Leon, who's also on the card against Nate. And I want to get your opinion on that. But we were talking, and I was working that night when you were fighting Leon, and it was such an exciting thing to see you in your first main event, and to have it end the way it did was such a disappointment, because I felt like, the opportunity was taken from you. You didn't get to show everything. And even if you had lost, like, what if you got to show everything though and really banged him up? Like, you could have put on a fight of the night. Like, I just feel like the opportunity to lose that opportunity was frustrating as a fan, and I can only imagine how you felt. So having a quick turnaround, and when they offered you something like Demian on a main card on something so great, like, that had to at least feel good, right? And feel like, in the whole everything happens for a reason world, that this was something that was actually maybe more meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're right. Like, you got to take positives from everything. I feel like I took that fight. I've always wanted a ranked guy. I was kept begging for ranked guys. I got the number 3 guy, and to my first main event, and ended it like that. But for me, still getting Demian Maia next, I feel like it still put me it put me ahead of schedule, I would say still. Because, he's still a top guy, and I feel like beating a guy like him, like, that's going to put me right back in the main event picture, where my next fight should be a bigger fight like that. So, yeah, like you said, like, to me, it's always positives, and it's always trying to take the good thing from the good from the negative. And, like, I'm not going to sit there and dwell on it or cry about it, or, like, sit there and go on Twitter rants about how why is Leon fighting Nate Diaz, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, the UFC still gave me a fight that I wanted, because I wanted Demian Maia. I asked for a Demian Maia, and they were able to set that up to me. So, like, for me, I was like, all right, well, thank you guys.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing, right? Because they could have just been like, tough luck, bully, like, sucks for you, and just moved on, and that could have been, it could have taken you a lot longer to work your way up. So why do you think it is, though, that it took so long to get ranked guys? Like, because I know, you're tough to beat, right? So I know for a lot of people with the rankings, they don't want to fight somebody behind them, especially somebody who's dangerous, who can beat them. So how frustrating has the dance been to get the ranked people? And, were there reasons, were they coming back to you with reasons why you weren't getting them before?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I kept asking and asking, and then I'm won 8 of my last 9 fights, and then I'm yelling at my manager. I'm like, bro, what the heck's happening? He's like, man, Sean says that he can't make guys say yes. And we're in the day and age now where I feel like MMA fighters are trying to play the business side of it, or trying to pick the exactly right fight that's going to help them get to a title fight, or get them the most money. All these guys think they're a money fight for some reason. I don't know why. 90% of them don't even know how to use social media. And so, like, they're basically, I don't know what it is with these guys nowadays, but a lot of these guys are afraid to, like the old days, when I give you a name, you say yes. For me, I'm saying, whenever I get a name, I'm going to say yes. I'm excited to fight. Right. This is what I work for. This is what I train for. I'm not one of those guys. If I'm healthy, I'm not going to sit out on the sidelines and I'll wait for something better to come. You know what? My big toe's sore. I want to relax. I'm going to take a couple months off. Like, we're fighters, and I feel like a lot of these guys forgot about that. Like, when you're sitting there on the regional circuit and you're fighting for literally nothing. But you always had that dream in the back of your head. I want to be a UFC champion. I can make it to the UFC. So you're sitting there fighting for peanuts, trying to fight the best fights, taking any fight that comes your way. And it was to make that dream happen that was in the back of your head, like, yo, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it. Now we got ESPN, now we got big stages, and these guys are sitting there, forgot what hunger they had to get to this point, I feel like. And so now that's why it's making a lot of these guys with the number next to their name, they're just so proud of that number, telling their family that, hey, I'm number 6, I'm number 7. I don't want to lose this number. They're so afraid to lose it, so they're afraid to take any type of challenge. And for me, you know, that's why it's exciting to fight top guys like this. And for like Leon was one of those guys that nobody wanted to fight. Damian's one of those guys that guys are afraid to fight because these are tough fights. So for me, I'm like, hey, I'm down with it because these are the guys I want to fight. If you want to be the champion, you got to be able to beat all these guys.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And on the one hand, I do think, you know, some people have made the mistake of saying yes too often and too frequently and maybe fighting when they're hurt and maybe so. So there is a delicate balance, but I 100% agree with you that nowadays it does seem like a lot of people are trying to craft the perfect trip to the top, to the title. And it's like, you can't do that. You got to fight some people you don't want to fight. You got to get your way through them. And that is how you really find out if
exactly. Yeah. And people are literally forgetting about that. So there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it's tough. So there is only so much you can do. So when you look at this fight, though, like, what did you take away from Leon? Because, you know, you got, what, a round and a half, right? So I know, yeah, at least you were able to be in there. You were there for a while, so you felt what it is like to be in there with the number 3 person. So what did you what did you take from that fight moving forward that at least gives you some confidence and makes you feel like
honestly, it was I took a lot from that fight when that one round. Because, you know, it was like one of the first fighters, too, that I fought that I've watched all the time. And, you know, you're putting these guys on a pedestal. You're always putting guys your opponents on a pedestal. Like, oh, man, he's probably this strong or that strong. And then after the fight, you're like, oh, well, he's not really not. And then you're looking at this guy, number 3 ranked guy. And I'm like, I'm expecting a lot more from him. And then I was like, well, okay. And then even in, like, the most I took was when I was in the clinch with him. I, like, felt way stronger than him. And I was like, oh, wait, this guy's number 3 in the world and he feels like this. So it just showed me that I belong with those guys and I can compete with these guys. And just from those little spots, and also for me, taking a fight on 3-week notice, it showed like the UFC that I'm willing to step up when a big fight comes. So like if another big opportunity does happen, they can call me and I will answer and I will say yes.
Yeah, it's great. Well, how do you think the fight will play out with Nate then?
Honestly, like I was telling my brother yesterday, we were talking about it, and I was like, you know, he felt weak in the clinch, and for Leon, he gasses out in later rounds. He gets a little bit of tired, so and that's when Nate thrives. So like I feel like if Nate could withstand a couple of those low kicks, if it comes out to Nate not checking the low kicks and just not taking a lot of punishment in the early rounds, because if it gets to the 4th and 5th round, I think Nate could end up moving forward on him and breaking him a little bit, because Leon's one of the guys he breaks. I don't think Leon's going to be able to wrestle him and hold him down like he did with a couple of the other guys, because Nate has pretty good jits. And Leon's one of those guys, even when he takes you down, it's more so for like clock management. Like, all right, clock's going. It's not like he's really trying to go for a submission or anything like that. And I feel like that's going to get him in a dangerous spot if he tries that with Nate.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm just a Nate fan. Like I love that kid, so I'm just happy to see him in action. Like anytime he fights, like, yeah, okay, cool. But it is exciting. It's exciting, and there's because Nate's also kind of always that mystery, right? Because he doesn't fight that frequently. Like you never know what's he been working on in this time off. Like what?
Yeah, and you're looking at his brother Nick, and you're like, man, he looks in super shape. So you're like, if he's training with Nate, I haven't seen any Nate with a shirt off, but hey, if Nate's coming out with abs and stuff like that, you never know. And then like one fight he looks like a monster, then the next fight he doesn't look that good. But like it's always you don't know which Nate's gonna come at you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be just quite the incredible card. But I do have to ask you because now that it is also in your rearview mirror, just How exciting was it getting to work with me and Alan on the on the broadcast? You actually did so great, and I loved having you there. And part of me was like, well, that's kind of rude. They put him with Alan on the first one, but at the same time, I was like, it's kind of great that they put you with Alan. But again, sort of like how you have you expectations of fighting a ranked third ranked guy, and then what it really was like. You have expectations of what you think it might be like working on the broadcast. So then, what was it really like?
Honestly, it was great. It was awesome, and like I felt like working with Alan was so good because like we just had good chemistry and it felt good. Like he was my boy or something. But
Yeah.
it was a lot harder than I expected. We just having like a producer in your ear talking to you. But then I was like, man, you don't know how good Karyn is. But like when they're doing the countdown, like 10, 9, 8, and then you're going down to the last second. I'm like, dude, that takes like talent, and that was like the biggest thing for me is like realizing, all right, well, to finish talking through like a replay or something like that, it's all about just like the timing of how to do it and everything. But it was definitely fun. It was one of those where I'm literally texting everybody like, hey, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Everybody, oh, you look good on TV. I'm like, I don't care if I look good on TV. Tell me what I did wrong so I can fix it. Oh, man, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, just shut up. What are the critiques? That's what I want to hear. To me, like, even after fights, I'm always telling my coach, like, all right, what do we do wrong? We need to fix. What do we do this? So it's kind of like the same thing where I had the same mindset of like, all right, what did I do wrong? What do I need to fix? What did I do wrong? Then even John Annex like told me like, bro, put it in the rear view mirror. That's it. Like, that's it. On to the next one. It's like with everything. That's what he says. But I'm like, all right.
Well, you did great. Honestly, I think the hardest part for people is learning that timing of the talking, of knowing how long the highlight clip is, knowing how to pace what you want to say, over the length of the clip, so you either don't like run out too soon or you don't go over too long. Like that is definitely a skill that that is acquired. But like, yeah, and knowing that when somebody's talking in your ear, like if people had any idea how much is going on in my ear? Well, I might be just being like, so Belal, what do you think about so-and-so? And I have this one going, don't go to that interview. It's not there. And then this one's like, okay, so-and-so's on his way. Stall. Ask another question, and I'm just sitting there like,
we were sitting there watching it yesterday, the post-fight show. And then I was like, you guys were interviewing Rosenstrike. And then like you asked the first question. I was like, Kies is going to ask the second question. And then I was like, yeah, the producer probably in the air, like, Kiesa, you're next.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there was like a little pause. And I was like, oh, what's going on? What are you doing, Kiesa?
Right.
But it's like funny because now I watch it with a different eye now.
Kiesa goes, I don't hear anybody. Yeah, because we all knew, you go down the line and stuff, and it was funny. And so, yeah, it's a trip. And it is a lot of fun, and hopefully they have you come back with us because I totally loved having you there, and I thought you did a great job. And I feel like, you get that one in, and yeah, you did great anyway, but you take your things, you're like, okay, next time's going to be even better, and you just did great the first time. So hopefully they have you come back.
Definitely.
I hope so. Well, listen, Belal, so it's a huge week for you. You had main event Muhammad. So now you're still main card Muhammad, right?
Yeah, it's still honestly my first pay-per-view. It's a huge pay-per-view. I feel like there's going to be a lot of eyes tuning in. And then the first time we're going to have fans back again. So, like, it's a lot of positives coming for this week. I just wish we were able to go see Arizona. I'm sitting there like, we're stuck in the hotel again. We're on quarantine again. Like, what the heck? I'm looking at, like, hiking trails and freaking hot springs. I'm like, for me, I'd rather go see the place that I'm at instead of being stuck in the hotel. But at least we get to hear a crowd.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and I'm going to stay for like a week, and I am going to do that. Like, I'm going to stay there and go do some other stuff in Arizona. Yeah, I'm going to stay till like the Thursday after, because it's like, I haven't taken really kind of like a vacation or anything. You know what I mean? And yeah, it is really pretty there. Do you like? I think I did ask you this before though, with the crowd and without the crowd, because lately, if you watch any NBA, like the crowd can kind of be a bunch of jerks sometimes too. Like the crowd is, they lost their manners a little bit, Belal. So there is something to be said for fighting at the
I'm sitting there like, man, like these people really were that much in lockdown. They're coming out, they're all feeling froggy, and I'm like, man, I'm just waiting for that one dumb one to try to do something in the UFC because I'm like, your corners know how to fight. So if one of these guys try to do something stupid, the corners ain't gonna mess around. They're not gonna let that happen. But it's funny, but like they just bring a whole different type of energy, and like when you're coming out there and you hear a roar, it's like there's
Yeah.
no other feeling like it, especially when Bruce Buffer's announcing your name and you look at the crowd, you're able to see family. For me, it's more so being able to have my family and stuff there, because like I know how much it means for them to be there. So like for me to like walk out and like meet eye to eye with my brother or something like that, like it's like a comfort. So it's a different type of comfort when I see them.
So, and are they going to be? Yeah.
I'm gonna have like at least like 50 people in the crowd for this one. But that the negative side of it is now where you get those calls and stuff like, "Oh man, bro, I really would love to see your fight. I want to come to Arizona." I'm like, "All right, cool, thanks. Where can I get tickets?" Ticketmaster, bro. Oh man, yeah.
Ticketmaster.
They're trying to slowly play that role, and I'm like, StubHub. I don't know. Oh man, bro, like you don't think you could give me some?
Yeah.
That's the only issue with this whole thing. Where now you're getting this. Oh man, so the fights are letting people in now. So like, how much are your tickets? I don't know, man. You gotta look them up. Yeah.
I know. I don't know, man. I've never fight. Yeah. It's, I know. It's tough, but I feel like not only will you have your family there, but just in general, like you have such a strong fan base, and I feel like you are very well supported even when you are at the apex. Like there's a lot of love for you. So, you know. I think you'll be fine. Do you touch hands? Do you high five people or not? Are you the kind that thinks they're stealing your mojo?
No, I give high fives. Yeah, I take mojo from the high fives. It feels good.
Cool. Nice. Well, awesome. Well, it's going to be just really great to see you back in action. I was hoping maybe you'll do a no wrong answers with me where I can ask you 3 random questions.
For sure.
Will you do that as well? All right, cool. Well, so that will be in a separate clip, folks. So for now, Belal, thank you so much for joining me, and best of luck against Demian. It should be a great fight, and hope to have you back at the desk.
See you later. See you in Arizona.